the initial name was KB Max. It was founded in 2009 by 2 Italians and 2 American developers. So they had this idea with some others, with other products, to generate something which is CPQ, so configure, price, and quote, into the main quadrant. So what you're going to see today is a industry-leading software. It's not only part of the Epicor portfolio, but it's literally one of the top choices by companies around the world. So how does it work? Of course, this is a very simple representation. What you simply have to do is to set up the rules and set up the permission. So you want to decide how a product should behave, but also how a workflow should happen, and what is the role allowed to operate on a certain step of the workflow. And then what you want to do is also to produce something. So you want an engine which is able to understand your inputs and understand if a configuration is available, or even if you can sell a configuration of a product, and especially not saving only time during the quoting phase, reducing the errors, but also saving time during production time, because you will always produce something that you are sure 100% that you can sell. So you won't have any customer coming back and say, this is not what I needed. So you can do quoting, of course, you can do pricing, document automation. In Australia, they use CAD automation to generate CAD drawings, so production 3D and 2D drawings, and this is saving a lot of time. You can open the platform to distributors, you can open the platform to resellers, you can decide which products these distributors can configure and can quote. So you can always put permissions on every type of user, down to the resellers, or even to your internal people that can decide which product in which region, which country can have these products available, and so on. When we say that it can handle the most complex products, there is no limit in the amount of blocks that you can put. It's only drag and drop. You don't have to know how to code. And that's a very important plus for the CPQ world, because usually this tool is for the technical people to set up and for the sales people to use. So how we see the old world versus the new world. So the old world, which is not only, I would say, old, but it's also current most of the times. A lot of our customers or prospects tells us that they are still using Excel files to configure, and that's one of the most used tool to configure nowadays still. As a company, you want to be predictable, you want to do forecasting on your finance side, so you want to be precise in the calculation of quoting and especially into the order conversion. As you can see, there are some very good points of discussion. For example, for Caterpillar, they have more than 100% deal size increase. Every time a customer reports something is that the deal size has increased. We can also connect to other solutions. As an example, Salesforce CRM. We have customers with any kind of CRM possible. Also an on-premises one, which is connected via REST API and also read and write from database capabilities. From the CAD automation perspective, so the generation of 3D and 2D drawings, we have connections with PTC Creo, SolidWorks, and Autodesk Inventor. If you have any other CAD solution, we provide some connectors to these solutions. The first example I want to show you is Epicor into the e-commerce. So you have endless possibilities of connecting price list, but you can also connect product availability to the user. And my user, what I want to do is to configure a product. And between my configurable products, I want to select something, for example, like the golf cart. As you can see, you can also apply discount in your e-commerce, and this will be reflected into the Epicor CPQ configurator. So I want to configure my golf cart. You probably noticed, but I want to stress the fact that the configurator popped up within the same page. And from the configuration perspective, you will have the 3D visualization. You can really see down to the details. You see the plastic and the metal reflecting on the backside of the seat. You can also zoom in and see what's going on the steering wheel. So you want a 4-seater. If you are not familiar with the 4-seater, 2-seater, you can also get more information. As an administrator of the tool, what you can do is to also decide if there are more information, the layout of the page, if there are more pages, as you can see here on the right-hand side, or you want a one-pager. Everything is up to you on how to decide how to configure it. You also see the total price on top. So e-commerce, show price with specific information. Internal sales people show price with more information because, of course, internal people might or should know more about the configuration process. And all of this is dynamic. So changing the color happens in no time. Then you want to work on the exterior. Let's make it blue. Maybe you want to change a tire. And in this case, we want a canopy. And if there is a canopy, then we want to decide if there is a windshield or if there is a tinted one. And you can clearly see visually into the 3D visualization in no time. So customers also add services sometimes. So you can suggest bundle of services. You can have warranty extension. You can have life warranty extension. Through the laptop is not available, but consider that through mobile, so phone, tablet, doesn't really matter the type. You just need the browser and the camera. You can utilize augmented reality. So you can really see in real life the object that you are configuring. Finally, you can add it to cart. And then from the e-commerce perspective, the CPQ job is done because it's the e-commerce then taking care of payment methodology, shipping cost. So we now know who the customer is, we know the location, and with the location, we know product availability because maybe our product is not certified for where the add-on is located. And then we can configure the very same product into the system. The e-commerce and then the configurator opening up into the ERP. We configure our solution. And then when we finish, we can hit the OK button. And then this brings back the total price. This is the very same golf cart, but from the backend perspective. It's pretty easy to add a new block. For example, we can go down here. We want to add the caddy cooler. So we want to go to the manufacturer. And what we want simply do is to add a material or delete a material. We can grab the block and snap it here. As you can see, it turns immediately red because it's also color coding. If it's something it's red from the rule perspective, you know that something is off. So you want to solve the issue and the system is telling you what the issue is. You can design the platform to behave as you wish. What we are doing is telling the CPQ what are our needs. It's called customer needs based configuration. For example, the customer is sensitive to cost, sustainability, and limited space. If you're talking about aviation, they want to save space, but at the same, so they want to save material, weight, but they still want to bring some goods or people on top of it. So these are my customer requirements. And then you can say, what is the process, what we need to do? So we start asking questions to our customer, and the system is already optimizing the solution. Possibly one solution, most of the times gives us a list of available solutions, and then we can finalize our configuration. What's important is that you define these logics into the system so that it will behave as you expect. And when we finalize, we jump into the configuration itself, which has a slightly different user interface compared to the golf cart. And you will see that now a solution is appearing on the screen. So the system, from the 3D perspective, is putting more objects into the system. And you also have the ability, if the configuration allows you to do it, to add another product to the system. And for example, if we add a floor plan, you can say, I want to bring this and position it there. So the system can also allow you to drag and drop visually an object. And this is also interference checking. So if you want to position something in a position that it cannot go, then the system, if the system knows, your logic, then it will tell you that's not available. So instead of a product here, what we are configuring is more a solution of a custom for the customer.
One of the things that it's probably becoming a bit more obvious now is you can have a configurator within a configurator. So one of the customers we're working with right now is a furniture company, and they've got a room configurator in which you can put multiple pieces of furniture and then move the furniture around and see make sure that it's all going to fit, make sure it's all going to look good, etc. So that configurator within a configurator might be another interesting option.
Of course, correct, but it's also the name you want to give to the explanation is called nested configuration approach. So as you saw, like the object that I just added is a configurator itself. So you can configure the object as we saw with the golf cart, or you can configure the object within a space. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm finalizing the configuration, and I'm collecting all the data that then will turn into a quote. Remember that we also said that CPQ can be a standalone tool, so you can manage total cost, you can manage discount, you can even manage customers, and then you can manage currency. So maybe you are configuring in Australian dollars, but I need prices in euros, or the other way around. So we have the conversion rate applied on spot for the specific customer total cost definition. You can apply your own exchange rates, so you can give us the numbers, or we can leverage the spot rates available from the central bank. And then when we want to submit, there is something which is preventing us to submit because there is an error into our system requiring my project name. So you also have the ability with the workflows to prevent a quote to be saved if there is an error in it. Thanks, everyone.